Okay, we're live. So, what's going on, VOD watchers? Because there's no one here right now. Welcome to day 31, or 32 of trying to get this game done. Another day, more bugs, right? But I think we had pretty good progress last stream, so we're just gonna keep going from there. Fix things that need to be fixed, and then yeah, just pushing through, man. Spent today just playing games, honestly. Just playing some Final Fantasy 2. I think I needed that. I haven't done that, and I've been super stressed and working like crazy, so I think I needed a moment to just do something for fun. But time to get some work done, right? So, if I recall, last time we were working on some shader stuff, which was, yeah. So now that things are working here as far as our background layers are concerned. That was the big thing we were working on. And I remember there's some issues here with the UVs actually not being perfect. So that's another thing. But then we get into this whole marginal benefit, marginal cost calculation. So, I don't know. We could try to make it perfect. We could probably try calculating our own method of interpolating this stuff better, but, or maybe it's not even about interpolation, but rather how we prepared the asset. Either way, I think I'll leave this as it is for now. So, what to do next from here? What to do next from here? I know I wanted to do a better calculation of the pixel width for this. But that might be in a separate category. That might be just, again, that marginal benefit category. I kind of want to check. We had something here. Oh, we were talking about engines and what they do. That was the whole thing. What's going on, SKYU? Hope you're doing well this night. Yeah, we don't need this. So this is the to-do we're doing. So we're fixing, we added outlines, we fixed UV mappings for the most part. The next thing I want to work on is fix background displays. So this is fixing the shell generation. So fix shell manager script or whatever that was called. Can you calculate trajectory? I mean, yeah. I'm not sure why I'd need to, but that's a thing you can do. I could brush off my physics 1 parabolic formula. What's going on, TST? It's good to see you, man. So yeah, we need to fix this. I want to have the shell generation be better. We had some ideas of how things are going to go, but I don't know. I think I'd rather have things be more, well, there's a lot of shortfalls from how we designed it. And I'm also just considering maybe just using prefabs instead of making things more complicated than they actually are. Like, I wanted to do way more cool things. But I think there's things that are more pressing as well. So I might just make it as simple as, hey, we're gonna have prefabs, and then that's it, right? And it's fine. Yeah, you also have the disappearing coins issue that we need to figure out. I need to find a way of debugging this. I need to figure out a way of learning this. Of like assessing, like the same way we have a debug thing for seeing the state of the map we just generated. We need to have a thing of generating, assessing the, because it's a big issue. Like, see that? That's kind of terrible. 70% of the coins disappeared. And that's not good. And that's honestly kind of more concerning than anything else. The backgrounds are just, it's bad, but it doesn't affect gameplay. This does affect gameplay. I can't, never learned it. I suck at math, but I love astrophysics. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. I think if you've learned what a linear function is, like if you learn y equals mx plus b, I mean, that's just, it's a few terms to get to that quadratic formula. You'd be surprised. Sometimes it's not even the fact that, because I've had this happen where I think I'm too dumb to understand something because people have tried teaching me it, or I've tried learning the subject in different ways before, and it just takes one person in the right context to explain it, or maybe not in person, but even a video or something, or even an article online. Just something explained in a specific way for it to just click. Yeah, I was looking at my to-dos. Game mode behavior, yeah, the culling system, that's kind of a super high priority thing. The bullet enemy is not as important, but that's going to be a task to do. But I think it'll be fine. Though I think I might spend time making assets for it. Another thing that's kind of important is going to be things like, we should have the pause button. I don't know why we haven't done that yet. That's a simple thing to do. The pause button. What's some simple things? Settings. Just audio, music, SFX, toggle. I might even just get rid of, I don't know. We'll think about it, but I think it's going to be simple. I can do sliders, but I don't know. I'm not sure if people really care enough about that. What else is there? Yeah, save the markdown. Good. What else is there? Text render. Yep, we did that. That's done. We also want to have some VFX for when you break, but there's also this bug. Yeah, we should probably fix that. What causes that to happen? We have game view UI, and then we have a bunch of stuff subscribed here. Do this on health update, on break update, on coin update, on exit. Alright, we go to this state here. I imagine there's some things that should be done. Oh, we re-enable pausing. We also don't resume it. So I'm hoping maybe just resume, or try resume. Request resume. That should hopefully be enough to fix this. I'm hoping. The sound of your keyboard or J-board. It does make sounds. Let me boost up the sound of this too while we're at it. Okay, let's see if this bug goes away. If I just press play and then exit, return. No, we're still stuck. It requires us to... Okay, so I wonder if it's a time dilation thing. I wonder why this is... working the way it is. Yeah, because when we retry, it's fine, I think. So I wonder if it's legitimately just a tie. I don't know. You know, actually a better way of testing this is going to be looking at the inspector, because I think we cached some values about pause state. Exit, resume. We have no control. I'm gonna look at the player now. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out in debug mode what exactly is going on here. So we have, what do we have going on here? So speed bonus, lapse time. That's for the chip activation, which we need to re-enable as well. Current angle, transmission velocity, angular velocity, current angle. I don't see anything here for is paused, and it's false. It's not paused. Okay, so it's not paused. So I wonder if it's the controller that is having issues, that for some reason it's not last input type disabled. Actually, out of curiosity, no, that's not going to activate either. Okay, so everything is just not activating. Both the relative joystick and this. So let me actually look at the component for the player controller and see if there's anything going on here. In start, we get an instance of the input. We listen for this behavior. We listen for pause. There's different diverging behaviors here. So pause is pause. So okay, it's not caching the state directly. So it's checking if the game is paused, and if it is, it's going to deactivate these objects and then return, which might explain why we're not seeing anything. So maybe the game is still shown to be paused over here for some reason. That'd make no sense. Especially since the player itself is not, or actually, I wonder if it's, no, because it starts off correctly when you resume. When you do it the first time, or when you... Yeah, sets the stuff active. That's fine. Get mobile input. Oh, it's outputting... Okay, we have debug text, actually. But no, that's... The debug text would have default values. Interesting. Oh, what's going on? Is Ismail? What is he making? I'm making a game right now. And I'm just fixing some bugs here. Yeah, no, we don't do that. Yeah, I use Vim. It's very nice. I enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah, this is the game we're working on. It's very weird that we have like the UI sandwich between that. And the bug I'm trying to fix is that if I quit and return, I can't control the player whatsoever until I pause and then unpause. In fact, I have to press it twice. So it's leading me to believe that it's just that the game is getting stuck pause, but I don't know why my fix wouldn't have fixed that. Graphics render. Oh, that's for the chunk manager. That's, yeah, we're gonna refactor that entirely, so that's not even a concern. So that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Let me see. Let's see if my pause implementation is even correct. On health update. And then we have our on exit. So we call things in this specific sequence. Pause. We enable pausing because we suspend pausing. There's a few things going on here. Yeah, I understand this can be made read-only. Though I don't intend to ever overwrite that. It's private, so it can't. It's whatever. What's going on, Draco? Good to see you, man. For your setup, it's just you just download Idea Vim for Rider and it'll be fine. Yeah, this is not up for discussion, so have a good one. I'm trying to get into development design as a career. Any advice? Just grind on projects. Yeah, that's the best I can really say. Grind, get connected. You're going to learn more in terms of projects, and when you ask people questions, you can at least talk about it relative to something you're doing in your project too. I think having a specific scenario or I don't know, you're going to encounter specific problems you can't think of like abstractly or without actually designing a game or something. For advice with getting into game dev, well, I took the plunge and I love all the stuff I'm learning. Let's go, dude. I'm glad to hear it, Gen X. I'm glad to hear my advice did not cause you to be homeless and or destitute or something. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. Though, so I've been using visual scripting. It's fine. You can start there. I started visual scripting. I started with GameMaker, drag and drop scripting, and you just go from there. And eventually, you're gonna get to you're gonna have growing pains where like visual scripting is not gonna be. It's gonna be so bulky and unintuitive for you that you're just gonna be like, it's easier to do student code, and then you'll just jump to doing that little by little. Okay. Let's just do some documentation. That's self-documenting though. Pausing enable. This game currently paused. You can register pausables. Disable pausing. It just affects this boolean. And then request pause is... Oh, interesting. That's if requesting a pause fails. You know what, actually? Let's do this. On exit, let's assert true. Oh, forget. I'm on Linux. Is true. Okay. So now if this is failing, we can force the application to like throw an exception, and it's going to indicate that it's failing at that function. In which case we just need to make that function work fine and everything else should be fine. If not, the issue lies somewhere else and we have to keep doing some investigation. Yeah. Here's the stance here. I'm not going to talk about it further. What's going on, the real Vorson? It's been a minute. It's good to see you. Okay, let's try quitting, returning. We still can't move. Do we have any exceptions though? No. No exceptions. Interesting. Is there a way to... Is the pause module contain like only blittable data? If it does, it might actually be easy enough just to inspect the application directly. And no, because it doesn't implement it doesn't have the attribute serializable. So it's not going to be displayed here. That's no fun. Yeah, so I only have like basic stuff like that, but I don't have the things I actually want to see. Okay. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Actually, it's not, because I really don't know what. Well, here's what we know. This was true. Resumes all registered entities. I should probably document what the intention of this function is. True if successful. Can I spell? Oh my goodness. False otherwise. So it's returning true, which means that this is actually correct. It's fine. We prune dead objects, and that goes off without a hitch. Is paused is equal to false. Am I calling the right function actually? Yeah, I'm calling request resume. And we call function resume on everything that's pausable. We emit the on resume event handle, and then it returns. Okay, so like everything here is fine. So I don't think the issue is the pause not actually being pause. Something to consider though, actually. How do we handle the singleton? How have I implemented this? Is it superseding existing instances? Because I can see where... No, but even then, if we constructed a new singleton, then... Yeah, if it's not null, we destroy this current instance and return. Yeah. Okay. So no, I don't think the issue is that either. So there's something going on. So let's do this. I'm gonna set a public boolean, and it's gonna be set every single on update. Okay. Let's see how this works. Is it gonna... Come on, recompile script. I made changes. Or are you gonna force me to G this? Thank you for the content. Of course. I'm glad you enjoy it, Mark Heath. Like I said, the goal is with these streams is you guys get to I get to show the progress on the game. B, maybe you guys learn something cool from it. And C, even if you don't, hopefully the environment is chill and relaxing. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So let's see here. Player controller is pause is set to true. So this is for sure happening. For some reason, the game is in a paused state when we return back. I wonder if like... I wonder what could be triggering that. Well, this is simple though. This is a simple matter. We simply go to this. We have a private set, so you can actually even do it at this level. Where is it like this? I forgot how you do it. I forgot the syntax. I think it's something like this though. And I can just do, hey, not only are we gonna say but we're also gonna now, do I have to actually implement the get portion of this? I mean, it'll be simple. It's just return value, I believe. Is that not how that works? Am I gonna have to read documentation for explicit getters and setters? So why are you bad? Or actually, is value... The value is the thing you're assigning. Yeah, this is fine, but value doesn't apply here. Can I just... Is it just that? I mean, I guess so, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try this out. Hey, you got some stuff going on today? Yeah, we're doing some work today. Hey, gang, what's going on? What's going on, Syndicate? Well, look, if I'm interested. Yeah, like I said, man. We just... The 3 goals. Showing work. Oh my goodness. This is lagging like crazy. Is there something calling this every single... Oh, the getter. Stack Overflow. Oh, I'm stupid. This is bad. This is terrible. Oh, never mind. Yeah, this is recursively calling itself over and over again. I'm done. I was like, no, yeah, no duh. Usually, like, you have your own... When you're gonna implement it directly, I think you have to actually create a private Boolean and then set it. But I don't want to do that. That's the thing. I don't want to do that. And it's dumb that I have to do this at all. So you know what? We're just gonna leave this as is, and then every single usage of the getter, the set function, which is 2, we'll just do the thing here. There's a reason I don't like using properties or doing anything crazy in properties. Because it's always like I always forget some dumb stuff. In times of AI, how independent on AI I was getting back to code manually. Yeah, it's I avoid talking about it in general on this chat just because I think most people here are kind of tired of it. So I have thoughts, but I've talked about this before, so I think I'll just leave it there. Maybe at some point I'll make a short to talk about it, but I really don't want to discuss it more than it already is. I imagine everyone's timeline's filled with it already. Okay. Here we go. Actually, I should really make this be used or called after the fact, so it's actually using the up-to-date value. Okay. I don't trust that it reloaded the domain. Yeah, I don't trust it. So we're just gonna force it. Been here 15 seconds and it's already more coding than Pirate Software has literally done in his entire... Oh my goodness. What's the name of it? Oh, thank you, Syndicate. I appreciate it. You got me covered. How to make a COD Zombies map. I love doing the level design, but the scripting is so hard for me. Get better at scripting in general. I mean, scripting is one of those things where you just gotta do it. Like, doing it, it's not the most helpful advice, but doing it is how you learn. You just gotta grind through it. Now, that being said, I'm not too knowledgeable about COD modding and that sort of thing, so I'm not sure of what type of scripting they utilize for it and what would be more useful for you. And if your goal is just to do like COD stuff or if it's something more than that. I think a fun place to start though is drag and drop and some super simple languages or engines like GameMaker or Scratch or something. I started with GameMaker and using drag and drop. I think if you want to be a professional software engineer, you should start with C. I think there's important fundamentals that you pick up from that, but I think starting with drag and drop can make things a bit easier, and then you'll quickly grow or reach a point of growing pains and then transition to code. Is this okay? We're using collapsed. So shop data, pause change to true, and it's never reset. So we called pause the first time we opened up the pause menu, but it's never ever interesting. So the resume we call isn't getting called? That'd be my guess. That means the game view function UI here is not doing things the way we want it to. Why is re-enable pausing called here? This is on exit, and when is this called? Yeah, the exit button. When the exit button is clicked, we subscribe to this, add this function, and that's how we do things. That's how life goes. So if this is not happening, that makes me very concerned. But you know what if I move this into this go to state function? So we go to state, we're transitioning from level to garage. Call go to garage. I'm gonna call pause resume here. Or if I want to be like super ugly about it, we can just have call resume on start, but that seems dumb and incorrect. Or our beloved regular mods, 0 or yeah. I never give. I mean, it's probably bad on me, but I don't really give any heads up to anyone. I'm surprised they're here as often as they are, honestly, because I just don't. I just stream whenever I feel like it. Why do you use the old CRT? It's just fun. I enjoy it. To major in agricultural economics instead of computer science. I don't know if I would have made it past the first semester if I did. Yeah, people have different I don't know, different aptitudes, different enjoyment factors. I'm less on the school of thought of, hey, okay, that seems to fix it. So I just have to move that into the correct state function and it works. Okay, bug fixed. Bug fixed. We exit, return. We're good. Yeah, there's more tweaks I have to do to the level gen stuff, but we'll do that later. Yeah, less so on this. Like, I think there is some fundamental aptitudes, but I think the things that actually impact people more is rather enjoyment. Because if you can find something enjoyable, then you'd be willing to, maybe not even enjoyment, but part of it, I guess. But if you can find enjoyment or within the activity intrinsically, then you'll go farther than someone who maybe has natural aptitude for it but simply doesn't enjoy it. Oh, these guys are... What? That was weird. Are they all just like paused? What was that stutter? Okay, we have to profile to see what's going on. I need to know what's happening there. Okay, but this is fine. This seems, that bug at least has been addressed. So we can remove that from our list. Pause button. It wasn't even here, was it? If you build a game, would it be a fighting game or more like a God of War type game? I don't think I'd ever really do a God of War type game. Fighting games are cool. I have actually had a bunch of ideas for single player, like taking the same depth of fighting games but applying it to a single player game. I was always like the idea of having a game where you start off with all the moves, but it's a matter of you mastering how to use the character to be able to just rip through the game. So you're never grinding. Rather, it's just a matter of you spending time in the laboratory or repeating a level or something to understand how to do certain types of combos to people and then applying it. Hey! You here, Turtle? Let's go, man. Let me catch up, T-Money. Just learning Godot for 3D, feel really overwhelmed but super intrigued. YouTube tutorial helped me feel a lot more confident. Let's go, man. I could see this game finding serious niche for speedrunners. Yeah, let's see how it turns out. But I'm glad the tutorials made it very less overwhelming. I think even in my early days with using stuff like GameMaker, for example, it's like you don't know how to do anything, but then you find a tutorial that explains one specific idea, and then you're like, all right, let's try to juice and make the most out of this idea and apply it in a bunch of different scenarios. And then you get to the limit of that, and then you have to watch another tutorial or find some script or something online and then try applying it. And then you rinse and repeat, right? And then you eventually have like a little bag of tricks, and then you stop having to watch tutorials because you can synthesize them to create whatever you want to create. Oh yeah, I was thinking about what I want to do here. We have the game over behavior. Actually, we don't. Actually, we do. We just need to design what that would look like. But that's fine. The shell manager, that's annoying. I think we have to tackle this though. Like, we've been ignoring this for a long time, but this is kind of important. This is gonna be one of those streams where we're gonna be probably getting angry at code, where the patience is gonna be tested, and we're gonna be just saying, "Why, Elmo? Why?" I do feel inclined to tackle the background generation stuff because that's ugly and that's not going to make it in the final thing, but shell manager. I think part of that is that I need to figure out, I think it's called chunk manager, board chunk manager, yes. Yeah, this is a whole thing that I need to refactor, but I think I want to have more clarity on it because I want to just, I don't know, I'm having thoughts about how I want to go about this. There was a vision here, and I want to see if we can still preserve that vision. If not, we just don't do it, but I would like to try. But we need to go to the game board. And we're going to have to deal with this. Game board manager. So we have to deal with an issue when it comes to culling. And we're going to have to make some tools to diagnose it, because this is a bug that happens not rarely, but it's not often. Like you're for sure gonna encounter it if you play the game. We've encountered it multiple times already. But it's a edge case. So we need to find a way of detecting when a certain edge case is met. So I think what I'm gonna do is we have this culling object, and the issue is happening at the culling. Maybe it's not happening at the culling level, but this is what's triggering the visibly obvious part of this. And it's going to require us to... What I'm thinking about doing is that when we call return object to pool, we should have some kind of debug thing where we draw the actual place this object was in the world and compare it to the coordinate. And then also have a way of imprinting the coordinate to the cylinder so that we can see where the disparity is. If this is due to bad coordinates, we can see if there's a disparity between the position of the game object versus the coordinate. So we're just gonna do some stuff. I think we're gonna make, I don't know. Yeah, debug called object, and we're gonna have a vector 2 grid chord world space chord. And then the way we're gonna handle this, what do we do here? When we call object, I know we do go through this whole creation process. We don't have an abstraction for these, do we? We're just interacting with the poolable object abstraction. So there's no way to guarantee that these things had. But it doesn't matter because we have the reference to the entry here. Yeah, that should be the entry. So, okay, that's fine. We'll just make a simple constructor to make life easier for ourselves and then be done with it. Or actually, if we're populating this list every single frame, things can get very hairy very quickly, with the amount of objects you accrue. I mean, it's fine because we're gonna get rid of this for the actual final game. I'm just worried about other things, building this humongous list. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna go about doing this? I mean, we could just treat it like a sample. We can pre-allocate a set. Because I just want to know, the previous, I don't know, seconds worth of called objects, right? I think that's what I really want to know. So we could just have a pre-allocated buffer of this. And then, no. Okay, the easiest thing would be just having the list. We just have a list. And maybe every second we clear it, or 3 seconds or whatever. It's not a, we'll see. Is it gonna create terrible GC pressure? Probably. Do we care? Probably not. What am I doing? And then, so I'll mess it up for myself. Wait, what? Yeah, you should have the type, but then there's also position. Oh, I'm dumb. That's... There we go. Okay, that should be more than good enough. And then this is line 300 something, 250 approximately. Okay. So for every, yeah, here's where the culling actually happens. So we're gonna do, oh, I didn't even add up. Yeah. Where do I want to do this? You know, I'll just go to, we'll just add it above the function definition. It's fine. Oh, because I need a, it's fine. We'll just, we're going to do some garbage. It's fine. This exists purely for debugging. And then we're gonna do another jank-tastic thing, which is gonna be let's actually not confuse the terminology here and make it very clear this is for debugging. And we're gonna make a thing where every second we're going to do observable. No, we're using our URX. Interval. Time span. From seconds. It's going to be like 1 second, or maybe 2 seconds. Maybe that's actually fine. And then we're going to subscribe. We're going to do the following behavior of just clearing debug objects clear. So we're going to clear that list. And that's going to be the garbage collector's problem. That's going to be the garbage collector's problem. And that should be big enough window for me to find it. Cool. And then the last thing we need to do this is terrible. Actually, do we even have an on Draw gizmos. We don't even have that, so we can just add the function here. We can do. Actually, we're already doing discussing stuff. Let's just continue being disgusting right now. Called objects. For each. No, not that for each. We're gonna use this for each. And then what are we gonna do to them? We're gonna draw stuff. So the simplest thing to draw is gonna be drawing like a gizmos, draw a sphere, and it's gonna be, the center is gonna be at debug. World position, and then I don't know, 0.5 f or something, 1 meter wide. And then we're gonna have to calculate some kind of vector 3 grid to world. And that's what's going to replace this guy. And while we're at it, we should probably also add, change the colors. So we're going to be using, I think blue seems fine to me. And for this, we'll use red. We should even draw a line to see like how far apart they are, but let's first figure out how we're going to do this grid coordinate to world coordinate. Let me catch up in chat real quick, guys. My bad. Yes, definitely that's where I am right now. I just finished all the tutorial videos except state machines, and then I had to go to an AI conference with a teacher. Okay, cool. This looks like your hell, Tikoski. This is just a good time, man. It's amazing how life is very relative. Also, what's going on, Lava Turtle? Good to see ya. Oh, Dr. Lavin, don't. You just summoned MP3 in my brain when you typed that. What are you doing? I'm adding some debug tools to figure out this very particular bug that's going on. Yeah, we are getting nasty, Syndicate. With this code and doing terrible things. Where else are you streaming right now? Just on YouTube. There's the horizontal stream, but that's about it. Yeah, we're using .NET. That's what Unity uses. So we have to figure out this magic. Do we have any... is there no... I wonder if I've written some utility function to do this already. Probably I probably have, actually. In fact, we do that. We have where do we create objects? Calc X, calc Y, update model, new object, entity creation, and then within entity creation, this creates the appropriate game object or requests the object from the pool. And we have this function called place object on the on board, which will get position on grid, provided the X, Y, and the radius. Okay. That sounds like our function. We do something else here, though. What? We squash the x-axis. What? Why? Wait, what? So we have a forward vector. Oh, this is calculating. Okay, this is calculating. This is for calculating the forward vector, the up vector, and then it's for rotation. This calculates rotation. Okay, we don't care about rotation in this case though. So this is actually perfectly acceptable. It's a public static function here. So going back to our onDraw gizmos, we just have to go to entity creation, place object on board, and all we need to provide is going to be radius. Or is it a public thing that I have? Radius. Okay, cool. We have pass in radius, and then we pass in I hate typing this whole thing. Grid chord. I think this requires me to explicitly pass in each one, so we're gonna have to add another parameter. Make this X, make this Y, and we'll be fine. Now, what is going on here? Argument type float is not assignable to this parameter type. What parameter type are you dealing with? Oh, place object on board. No. I want to get position on grid. That's what I'm looking for. And this should be correct. Though we have it backwards. Radius is supposed to be down here. Very nice. Grid to world. Get position on grid. And we should be good here. Okay, fantastic. And then if you want to be really cool, we can have a gizmos draw line between, what was it? Called object world space chord and grid to world. Okay, so I believe this should be fine. I think even with these metrics, we can even do a thing where we filter out objects that don't have a big disparity between them, but then objects that do. Is it gonna do what I think it does? I don't know. We're gonna find out. So we need to find a point when objects disappear. When does a coin disappear? It's probably happened a couple times already. Okay, there you go. Happened there. Go to game. Go to scene. Go to player. Okay. We're here with the player. Okay, I don't where is the player? It's at the center. Okay. So we have this going on here. Do we have gizmos drawing? Yeah, they should be drawing. I am not seeing a circle in sight. I don't know if you see it, but I certainly... Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, we're not saying that. I'm not stupid. We just made a simple mistake. I forgot to call the function. I implemented everything and then proceeded to forget to call the function. We're not even call the function, but actually populate this list. So let's actually do that. Let's actually do that. I was like, huh. This doesn't seem terrible. It seems like nothing horrendous has happened yet. Little did I know, we haven't done the thing yet. We haven't done the thing yet. Yeah, horrors are about to happen now. Horrors. Now we're gonna see the horrific, terrible, ugly things that are about to happen here. Is not assignable to entity. Table entry. I'm sorry, what? Oh, entry dot oh. We actually never get the entity information, do we? We only get to get its coordinates. Interesting. So we can pass in a key, actually, and I just need to modify the... That actually makes things a little bit simpler. And this is what? Vector 2? So we don't have to do this, actually, yet. Okay, we're going to try this out again, and we're going to see if the horror show begins now. What's going on, baby? Drill tunes. As well as vertical, just wondering where the other chats were. No, you're good. Yeah, it's not a very obvious thing. Show me the code. You're seeing it there, man. You're seeing the code. Cozy tea or coffee? I've become a coffee person. I used to not be able to take coffee for the longest time, but I've recently been having a lot of low blood pressure issues. It's not like big issues, just, you know, I deal with some low blood pressure stuff on occasion, and turns out coffee is actually pretty nice for dealing with that. And oh my goodness, do you see? Okay, I thought those lines for a second from the no, we're good. But I'm trying to not be dependent on it. I used to be super big into tea, though, before I went down the coffee route. The player's here somewhere. Oh, they're down there. Okay. So, you exist here. I don't see where the blue things are. I was promised blue gizmos. I don't see them here. So that makes me confused and scared. Confused. Really just about everything. You're not scared, but I am confused. Why, this would not draw anything. Do we have the selection wire? Turn off, that's fine. 3D gizmos, though, are on. Is there something I turned off here, maybe? Specifically, I doubt it. Let's see here. Scripts. Anything special here? We're looking for game board. Something that begins with that. Game board manager. Yup, you're on. You're there. Interesting. Okay. So it should be here somewhere. I might have to select it, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, I remember that being a part of gizmos as well, where you have to, like, for some of them to draw, you have to actually select the object. and we clicked on play grid. Does that have the component, or is that just a game object? There's game board. That seems to have the game board object on it. Okay, so we selected it, and I'm not seeing any. Oh, there's just there is a red thing there. Okay, that's something. And that is the coordinate from the coin, I'm assuming. That or maybe no, it's something, a coin from the back that got called out of existence. And I'm not seeing a line going from there, so it seems almost like, okay, this is using the same size and fill type is actually going to make it very hard to debug. So we're just gonna, I mean, the line would indicate that it was going somewhere else, but let's just do this. Blue is its world space position. This is its coordinate position. So we're gonna make, what are we gonna do? We're gonna make U smaller, and we're gonna make U a wire sphere instead. So the outer one is gonna be empty inside, and this one's gonna be smaller, so we can see where exactly things lie. So if it's perfect, if everything's correct, then you'd see a red outline with a blue circle inside, and that would indicate a perfectly culled object with no issues. Team Coffee, I actually love both. Yeah, they were both great. Whenever I go to I have a rocking chair I go to when I would read books, and I'd always like having tea, milk tea. It's my go-to. And I think the coffee have to be very, even with like the low blood pressure thing, I'm still, I don't like its effect on me, if I'm gonna be real with you. I mean, it's cool, but then like, I don't know, there's some residual anxiety stuff that it gives me that I don't like. Workout cozy, lift weights. I love lifting weights. I love leg days especially. In fact, the past couple of gym sessions have only been leg days. It's weird. I almost like leg days more than arm days. They're more traumatic. That's what I like about it. Like it's very, arm days, like I can go crazy, spend a lot of time going hard there, and I'm still fine. I can function the rest of the day. But leg days, doesn't matter if I show up without eating, I ate, but I waited like a couple hours before going there. I feel like vomiting sometimes, like halfway through usually, and I have to like sit down, do some breathing exercises. But I don't know, like the pain it's and then the pain afterwards, whole thing, but or the delayed onset muscle soreness, but it's like confirmation that I did work. It's confirmation that something happened. I don't know, and it feels like every time I go, I'm pushing, like I'm able to go further and last longer, and it's like, oh, I see the progress. We're working there. We're working. We're getting somewhere. Do I see any circles anywhere? Clearly some objects are culled, but I'm not seeing them here at all. So that's interesting. You know what I do? You know what would be an extra nice debug step? Is if we draw a line from the player to them. So we can, like, if it's somewhere way off this grid where I'm not going to see it, we can at least have a line connecting it so that we know where it is in world. So I'm going to draw another line between dot instance and grid to world, player dot instance dot world space position. Of course, I want you to have the correct color. So this is where it's supposed to be. This is going to be where it actually was. Okay. I'm ready. Do this and see where it goes. What's your training background for comp sci? Also was curious about music too. Not really much training. I mean, training background for me before I went to computer science was working in Game Maker, doing GML and trying to make my own games on there, and then doing some brief stint with C++. Music is kind of the same story, just using FL Studio, and then I got a job eventually at a music retail store, and I actually had to learn a lot more about the entire audio process. I had to actually learn audio engineering, which is actually very cool. Not something they necessarily taught me. I had to just search it, but my coworkers there would teach me. They would teach me. They would mention things that I don't know, that I didn't know, and then as soon as that goes from I don't know to something I know I don't know, then I'm able to actually Google it. I'm able to start researching. Okay, here's the player. So we see the lines. Oh, look at, now it's working. This is cool. So we see the lines from the player to these guys. But now I can't distinguish. Well, I mean, I can distinguish that they're fine now, though, because you can see how they're inside one another. Oh, but this one's not. So this object is supposed to be here and it's being called like it's here, but it's actually over here. Wait, what? But there's another entity that's there? So there's empty entities that are pointing to incorrect objects. Okay, we need to use a different color for the player because I can't, it's hard to distinguish which one's the lines connecting the objects versus everything else. That was helpful though, that was helpful. Or maybe we just use one line. I'm trying to start a race of big muscly programmers. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I remember my first game jams. There's a programmer I work with was super big into lifting. Actually, I know a few programmers who are just super buff. You'll brook no argument from me. The gym is the happiest place on earth, in my opinion. Screw Disneyland. Yeah, the gym's great. I love it. The MQ2 oppressor looks dope. MQ2 oppressor. What's an MQ2 oppressor? They're more traumatic. That's why I love them. Yeah, that's honestly it. Are the reason I re-aggravate a patellar injury in my knee and missed my last year of football. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, the knees are no joke. It's so addicting, though. Even since college, leg days are the days that have me fighting for my life afterwards. Like, I remember being in college. There's a really nice gym over there, and I remember being afterwards having like the terrible cramps in my lower back from deadlifts, lower backs and like hamstrings, and like I was just crawling on the hallway, trying to get to my locker, and trying to be outside of the view of people in public. And when people walk by, I just pretend like I'm doing some yoga pose or just like some downward dog or something. Oh, brother, it was rough. What was I doing? What am I doing? Oh yeah, the color. Make it white or something. And then this time, when I started going back to the gym this recent season, I had a moment where I tried doing the lifts I normally did, but I was out of practice from training. And midway into my deadlifts after doing squats, I got like this overwhelming crazy, like I felt like I was about to barf right there and then, and I had to like just deep breaths walking around. And the thing is, like, my legs are also messed up from it, like muscularly they're messed up. But you know, I'm still standing normally, and I didn't realize, like, you can't really understand how bad it is, right? But I was feeling so bad, I was like, okay, we have to go to the bathroom in case something happens. And I hobble my way there until I realized the bathroom is down the stairs. I didn't think it was going to be an issue until I took the first step down the stairs. And I nearly couldn't bring myself back up. So I had to hobble down this 2 flights of stairs to get to the bathroom to like make sure I don't hurl. And that's when I realized, oh, I can't lift how I used to, huh? I didn't even lift that much back in the day, but it was such a long time since then and this year. Where is the issue happening? Okay, that's. I need a more obvious example of where. Come on. Okay, I saw one there. I'm sorry, what is this you... Oh, I stopped playing the game. I thought I did control shift. Never mind. Animated sprites? Yeah, they're animated sprites. I'm also thinking about doing like a scrolling offset thing, but I have to modify my sprite shader. Come on, do the thing. One of you guys do the thing. Oh, I paused normally. I didn't pause the engine. I'm trying to catch it. Nope. False alarm. Oh. I need to catch it when it happens. I should just have a debug level where that's just... No, I stopped it. Okay. Or just turn off hazards for the... Turn off the collider for the player. Keep messing it up. 1 second. The one time I want to have the bug replicate in a very consistent way, it doesn't. That's crazy. Okay, we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something. I'm just gonna make the player spawn without it. Or actually, not even do that. We're just gonna do something even simpler. Yeah. Return. Easy. What's going on, Steve? On it. Do you see when you emote the hearts and laughs on the side vertical? I do see it sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I miss it though. Or a lot of times I feel like I miss it. Just from... I always feel like I have a lot of chat to catch up on. Yeah, I see the hearts now, or the hundreds right now. Thank you guys. Yeah, they're my sprites. I made them. We did a stream a while ago where I worked on these sprites, even the backgrounds and everything. Okay, so now we just have to work. Okay, that happened right in front of the player. It's not registering the Control-Shift-P sometimes. I'm doing it too quickly, so it's not pausing the engine. It's what I want to do is this. Okay, come on. We're gonna go slow so I can see the coins that disappear when they're not supposed to. And I want to have a very obvious example. Maybe it's closer to off center. It's so weird. When I actually... Okay, that one... I can't be sure if it wasn't pickup. I don't think it was. At the same time. Because I want it to be in front, directly, like in the middle of the screen. That's the problematic ones. But I'm not seeing this bug. Oh, there we go. There is one. There was one right there. Nice. Okay, finally. Okay. No, we're not going to resume it. We're going to see how things are looking in game. So here's the player, and it was right in front of us where that happened, right? And the player's over here. So these objects are fine. They're not in view anymore. These objects here is where things get weird. So the actual game object is here, but the actual cell not coordinates. The actual cell it's corresponding to is over here. So that means our spawn or place object method is like wrong? Is that the case? Is that what it means? Because we're using the same exact method to generate these graphics, right? So So what can produce this scenario? Because that's why this is disappearing in the middle of the screen. It's disappearing because in actuality, we're calling an object we thought it was here, when in actuality it's here. That is strange. I mean, here's a really terrible solution we can do. Where like, if we try calling an object where the distance between it and the other thing is way too big, we simply just don't. And then if it gets to a certain distance away from the player, we just call it. That seems terrible, and it doesn't fix the root cause of the issue here. And if you allow that, that's going to allow the continual degradation of game logic, because then we can't assume that these things are going to be placed correctly. I don't like having systems I cannot rely upon. So we're going to figure out what is going on here and why it is that the game can result in a state where these objects are not tied together. Just keep in mind, blue, let's actually confirm for ourselves, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Where's Gizmo? You're here. So blue is where it is in world, the actual, right? And red is where it's supposed to be. So these objects are not created where they're supposed to be. That's what I'm seeing here. And that would be an issue, a fault in... It would be a fault in the creation function. So it'd be a fault in model update here. Or some way, somehow, once we get through all this business, when we create entity, it's not placing it where we want it to be. We do create entity. It's happening for coins specifically too. I don't see the hazards or the cones. I don't see anything else really popping in and out of existence like that. So I'm wondering if there's anything here that might be overriding its position. That is also a possibility, right? I doubt it. It's a very rare possibility, but it's something I'm going to consider no matter what. So we have brake pickup, heart pickup, laser. These are fine. Where's coin? So all these are going to behave the same way. So what happens here? We do hazards. Nope. We request the object from the pool, and then we say the new object's equal to that, and then we populate its name. Cool, and then break. Here we request the object from the pool, and we assign its entity. Set it to 1. That's its value, though. Okay. We actually have this assignment function. So that might be a possibility, right? But then it doesn't really matter if it changes things there, because then we get to this function called place object on board. And we pass in vector 2 chord X and chord Y, and the radius. Radius wouldn't impact this. The radius looks correct. So what is happening here? And is any transformations here going to modify or change this in a bad way? No, because this is all resulting in a rotation modification. So that would not produce I don't think it would produce that kind of offset we're seeing, because the offset's actually consistent with the grid, or at least appears that way. So what's happening here? How might this math not work out? So we have this float theta, which is a 0 to 360, and then we do y. So y is a coordinate within game board height. And we're going to see how close to this we get on y. And then we're going to interpolate between 0 and 360. Okay. And that's fine. Because y isn't... I mean, there was an offset on y, but there's also an offset on x. That was pretty significant. That was much more significant, it seemed like. And then we do this round int theta, and then we do a lookup table to the sine cost table. Just to avoid calculating it, and then we multiply by radius. And then we return. So this can be the world position. So before we do anything, let me actually take a screenshot before I forget, so you can see. I can reference this later, and I'm gonna post it into Discord, because why not? And we're gonna get to the bottom of this conundrum, this mystery. Copy. Do I have the Discord open somewhere? I don't believe I do, actually. Or maybe I do somewhere. Wow, how many tabs do I have? How many tabs did I have open here? Jeez. Okay, let's see here. Oh. No more. Of Mother 3, oh my goodness. I still have to play that. I still need to finish Earthbound. Where is game testing? I'm gonna just post this here. Cool. So now it's available for my reference, so I can start making changes here. But yeah, this is supposed to be right. So we get theta from this, and then we translate it to it's y and z components, and we treat z as x in like that unit circle for trig, and then we multiply this by the radius, and that should be its world space coordinate. That makes sense to me. And then board cell length meters. This makes perfect sense, and it seems to be working everywhere else, right? So this makes me almost think that let me look in how we choose the position here on update model. Because it could also be a disparity between the entity position. Because if we look at the culling function, we're grabbing values, the coordinate values from here. Correct? We're grabbing the coordinate values that are just registered in this dictionary, and then getting the appropriate object that's associated with it, right? But there's no way of knowing if that's actually the correct Well, actually, no, because there's a discrepancy between the registered position and the game object position. So maybe we're registering the wrong value in this key value pair. Like when we create our when we actually create these objects, what are we registering to our dictionary? So we add slot. No, so we're using the position that is within entity itself. Interesting. So what if we use what if we just get the index and then reverse calculate the coordinate? Well, no, this is actually just true, and we're passing in slot as well in this create entity function. And I imagine that when we do this, we're passing in slot.position as well, or entity.position, right? So it's the same value that's propagating across everything. So it's either in this chain of functions, either placing object on the board is wrong, or let's do something actually. Let's do something real quick. Because this report returns a poolable object, right? So we can do this thing. We can do an assert r equal. We can reverse calculate the slot position. It's coordinate, right? It's a vector 2. Which maybe there's some loss of precision from the float 2 for the int 2, but the value spaces they operate on should have a really low margin of error, I'd imagine. Who knows? Maybe that's not the case. We assert the slot 2 position. We're going to do the entity. I mean, this is kind of a redundant comparison, but place object or get position on grid. I mean, the other alternate is that coins, like pickups, is updating the position on runtime. I don't think I've ever implemented that, or I don't know why I would even implement that, but that's also a thing to consider. So x position dot y, and then radius. I believe that. What's going on here? Takes a float x, float y, float radius. Okay, yeah, okay, this is fine. And then the value is going to be new view object dot game object dot transform dot position. So we need to assert that these are equal, and if they're not, we're going to fail with a specific message of actually, we should probably cache this so I can output it in the and it'll make it easier to read too. In fact, okay, we're gonna try this and we're gonna see if this works. Make the disappearing coins a game mechanic. I mean, this is a symptom of like a fundamental system issue though. So if I make something else, one second actually. Are we getting any failed assertions whatsoever? If I make something that tries to assume that things are going to behave in a certain way and they don't, or it's going to make me hesitant to add anything that relies upon this game culling system. And there might be things that are critical, right? Where, for example, maybe I need to make sure that the player gets, I don't know, maybe a brake upgrade every couple of meters. But if it's not consistently there in the middle of a path, then it's that's terrible, because I can't make that assumption as a designer anymore. That I can guarantee that I can place something in front of a player. That kind of just sucks. Or if, for example, or like the custom unlocks or stuff like that. Like it would suck if something that someone earned just disappears before them. So this assertion's never failing. That is strange. That is weird. Are we back? I think we're back. But yeah, it's a point of like, it's something that's just odd. We're not getting any failed assertions either. That's like super strange. That is very. Oh, we recompiled midway through too, right? Oh, did it not recompile actually? Let me just be sure that this actually is compiling and running the latest, and then we're gonna see. Making games probably like 15 years or something like that, since middle school. It's been a fat minute. I enjoy it though. Okay, come on. Dude, what is this? When I test it... Oh yeah, why am I avoiding stuff? I have collision turned off. When I want the bug to appear, it doesn't appear. Oh, it happened over there. I'm pretty sure that's not due to culling bounds, it's due to me. Yeah, that's not good. Yep, you are being called, and your object's way over here. That's where you existed. That's not good. Okay, we should spit out a bunch of debug information. I think that's what we need to do. I think once the distance is a certain threshold, we just dump a bunch of information. It's not happening at this level, so that's... Actually, is it not happening? No, it's not happening. We would have seen a failed assertion there, and that's not what we're getting. So they're fine here. It's almost like something's changing. It's a weird. I wonder. Oh, you know what might be happening? I wonder if when we request a game object from the pool, if we run out, I wonder if it's just deleting that object and then repurposing it to you. But no, even then, create entity would place it where it needs to be anyways. So that's okay. That's weird. We're gonna get more into this. So once we do this, actually no, not this. Where are we doing this? Okay, here we go. So we're doing this adding here. Actually, we're gonna do this. So let's say greater than a meter. I think this should be fine. We have to do some calculations here. In fact, I'm gonna cache this. Way more accurately. I also need to get the entity, so we have its index, we have its coordinates, so we can calculate index from it. Which would be okay. We're gonna have a nice report. I love reports. have a toString function here? I do. Nice, and it provides all this information. That's perfect. Okay, cool. So now when this does happen, we're gonna have a nice report with all the information that went wrong. Let's see. Let me try re-importing. Plus 1 day? Nah, brother. Or day 2. Now we're near there. Let's see here. So any exceptions? There is an exception. Call error. Okay, what was the call error? So failing object. So coin pickup is a specific object that failed. Grid coordinate was 8175. Grid to world is 142. Did I not print the world position of it too? That was dumb. And then the actual pickup information, the entry information was 8175. So these are the same actually. Yeah, it's alive. So the information there is true. I didn't print the actual object position though. That's dumb of me. Actually, coin pickup there's a difference between the x coordinate and the, because the grid coord here is 81. But coin pickup here is, wait a second. Let me look at the entity creation function. Entity creation function. This might not have anything to do with our functions. It might be actually due to how we create the data in our buffer and the fact that the positions might not be accurate. Yeah, it's using entity.position. Wait a second, what? Entity position. So no, that's the same data that's in the board when we generate it. Oh, this is weird, man. This is odd. Let me check to see if the other one's having the same thing. Okay, so this one, yeah, it's slightly different. The coordinate that it's positioned with initially is 99 and 70. But then grid coord for this entity is actually 92 and 68. Dude, what? And the entity, the data we get from the entity corresponds to what we're reading from the value in the key dictionary. So I have to draw this out. Because at this stage, the coordinate is wrong. That's what's weirding me out here. In fact, I'm kind of curious. Does there exist a coin object with the correct coordinates? So we have this one there. But now if we plug in the one that's actually correct, 92, and what was it, 68? .00, nothing pops up, so that doesn't even exist. Dude, this is so weird. Do you need some coordinates to find my coordinates? We already have one layer of coordinates to find the other coordinates. Maybe I have to have another coordinate to find the coordinate to the coordinate. Maybe you just need to have 3 layers. That's the problem. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Whoops. Yeah. We need to keep our head straight. So, okay. So the first thing that happens is that model, there's a generation that happens, right? And we're getting the coordinate value yeah, and that's the information in this lot. So we're getting 92, 68. That's directly from the grid, from the inception of the buffer being populated with data, right? Then model update happens. Okay, model update happens. And at some point, entity creation happens. And the value that's plugged there object coin pickup, and it's saying 9970. Right, 9970. But then when we do the culling, the grid count, grid chord, the coordinates we're getting from is the same as the one from the actual buffer. So something's happening here. Or we're either we're setting it wrong here, or like we're like maybe accessing the wrong slot or something. I heard you like coordinates, so we put coordinates to your coordinates. My coordinates are kind of homeless. That's rough. My coordinates are kind of homeless right now. Maybe he needs glasses so he can see sharp. That's a good one. I'm using some glasses right now. I'm using these. So I don't blue light fry my eyes. There's an unconditional continue in the update mode model loop. So coins never get created or updated properly. You said update model. I don't see the unconditional loop. There's a for loop here, but that's based off of the calculated buffer index start and end. If this was hanging, then it would be, the application would hang itself too. So I doubt it's that. I need to find out what's going on here though. Like, where is this disconnect happening? Because we're iterating through a range here, indexing directly into it. Consistency in view contains key. Contains key. Yeah, redundant case. We don't need to recreate it. And why is this here? I need my real estate. So, okay. This is all the debugging stuff that we're doing to assert that things are fine. I want to be able to go backwards all the way to the previous function call, or the call that created this, to see like what exactly is causing that. Because we have okay, let's just do something real quick though. Or actually, we already calculate this value up here. Did we? No, we just do this. We just value transform dot position. Okay. You know what I want to do? Because we do this assignment thing as well. If value is pickup, we're going to do something special here. Enter info by index. Oops. Oh yeah, that's fine actually. And then we're going to do entity assigned to pickup. Dot. Yeah, it's assignable too. Perfect. So now we're going to get some extra information. Good filter, crazy old school monitor, bros, cooking. Yeah, we're working, but it's not a filter. It's a real bona fide actual TV I'm working on. This is how I live my life. Thanks for the good vibes, Cozy. Good night. You have a good night, Syndicate. Thanks for hanging out and popping up and all the support. Hope you have a good night. Get your 8 hours. Rest well, and hope you have a good day tomorrow / today. Let's make sure this actually compiles. So good. I'm glad, Jaden. I'm glad you dig the keyboard. Okay, did this recompile? I'm assuming it did. Oh, I guess it didn't. Okay. So let's wait for an error to happen. Let's wait for the bad thing to happen. Come on, bad thing happen. Oh, it happened. Perfect. Okay, called error. So let's see, are they the same? Oh, they're not the same. Are you seeing this? The entity assigned to coin is different from the one we're indexing into. Oh my goodness. The plot thickens. Okay. So let me rule something out. Let me see if we're... I kind of want to do like an assignment log where we see how many times this entity's been reassigned. Because I want to verify if this has been overwritten before, or if this is yeah, this is weird. This is really weird, actually. So by index, this is the data that's there, and yet at some point we're registering a key with this object. This is strange. Let's go to pickup and see how assignment works. So we have a function called assign. We try to init if it's applicable. But even then, now that I think about it, the naming happens here, not here. Which means that, like, any incorrect entity assignments are happening at this level. But somehow the same object, or at least this object's been assigned to another key or incorrect key. What happens with request object from pool? This is strange, because it's like, if we go to where this is called, when we add this to, like, we're using the same data. The only thing that can happen is maybe a reference to the original thing is being used and being mutated. It's using the same stuff that would be used otherwise. Like we're passing on slot and using its position. Here we're using slot.position for the key value. Unless would slot be wrong here? We're getting the position from the slot directly. But honestly, like, what if I... Oh, this is weird. Let me see if there's a calculation inconsistency and squash that first. Because we have this position. Is there a way to get buffer utilities? No, it's converting. To index. It's converting the X and Y components into an index. I have no way of getting, no mechanism of getting index from, or getting, getting coordinates from the index. Yeah, how to go about doing that too? How to extract coordinates from that? Yeah, Unity and Rider. For 19 years, never been this chill debugging. Keep going, bro. Thank you, Ivan, for the sub and the compliment. Debug core. What do you listen to? You wouldn't get it. It's. You ever heard of debugging core? Okay. So we have index, and we're converting it back. How do you extract a 2D coordinate from the index? How are we going to do that? It's going to be equal to something. It's also going to be equal to something. We know that. And we know what the final goal here is, returning. Like, this is the goal, right? Of course, it's going to be a float, but that's whatever. That's not important. That's the easy stuff. This is where things get tricky, right? So X is going to be, X coordinate is how many, well, Y might be actually easy, because we just take index and then you mod it by, I'm pretty sure that's how that's going to work. So that's how you're going to get the height. X is going to be how many whole filled columns there exist. So it'd just be index divided by height as well. And then you'll do like math floor or math F floor. we're not going to do floor, is it have to do to int? That's dumb. The idea is there though. So I think that's how you calculate. That's how we extract index from this. Cool. And then we don't need these explicit conversions that are not required. And then we can go back to game board here and we can do our assertion. So we're going to provide I assert are equal. So we're going to assert that our extracted index is, our coordinates are the same as our that's the goal here. Okay. And I mean, this is kind of effectively like unit tests. I should really just write a test suite. Just sounds of people yelling at a computer. Hey, compiled. Very nice. Thanks for the hearts, horizontal chat. I appreciate you, peeps. Vertical chat, I also appreciate you guys. It's just horizontal chat's like the very quiet. Not many people are there, so the people there, I'm like, you're real ones. You guys are real. The real ones, the OGs. Okay, things went wrong there. What happened here now? Failed object calling pickup. Okay, so it failed. It failed here. I'm very happy that the other thing is not failing, so that's extra confidence that the code I wrote the first time just works. That's not a common thing, right? To be like, it's not that it works the first time, it's that this big complex system just operates. That's nice. That my sketchy math checked out. But that's not leading us to finding out why this is wrong and why things are failing and being terrible and evil. So if we know for a fact these things are corresponding correctly, wait a second. Okay, it's different. It's 93 versus 96. Okay. So we still have an issue with the key stuff. So I'm curious now to see if like there's like gosh. What could be a possibility here? Like it could be the case of what if we're assigning an object that already exists somewhere else in the... If that's the case, then we might have to just add this extra step here. So I have an idea. What if we do the following? What if we do... we create entity, but I want to get the old assigned state. Okay, I have an idea here. I have a great idea, an idea. Is this even possible? Is it possible for this scenario to happen? The idea I'm having is a scenario where we have like object is assigned to A, entity A, right? It gets created and then it's eventually added. It eventually needs to be called at some point. Actually, this happens every cycle in a fixed order, so like there's no way that we get the same object and assign it to entity B. Like that's a scenario I'm imagining, is that this happens. The thing is though, if our object pool should not allow reassignment. But let's actually verify. Let's verify this claim and see what happens. So what happens here? We do request object from here. We try getting the pool of this type, and then if we find it, we go, hey, let's request the last object from it. And if it contains, we request the object from the pool, and if it contains it, we return true. We assign it. Yeah, because we're doing out, yeah. So we out equals this. We activate it and then we return it. Otherwise it's false. So we're not forcibly pulling anything out of. Well, actually, let's check here. Do we forcibly pull anything out of the pool? So if object pool count is greater than 0, we dequeue, return true. Otherwise, null and false. Okay, actually, what happens here though? So object.count this always returns true, even if we get to our limit. But that's always true because object pool is a queue, right? So if there's always at least one object in there, it's gonna be able to you're gonna be able to dequeue it. So this is actually fine. We're enforcing our no over. So yeah, that's not happening. That fear is not happening. This for sure is not happening. What's going on here? Very cool, bro. +1. Thank you, Jabe Ron Sedade. Chimera, I appreciate it. Thank you. Will be cut off? Yeah, that'd be terrible. I would hate it. Well, actually, it wouldn't matter because I have a UPS. So if power goes out, the router, my machine, the TV is going to go out, but these other TVs are going to be fine. So I'll be on for another 15 minutes should the power go out. Yeah, UPS backup, yep. An uninterrupted power supply. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do the brute force option that I had in mind, which is have like a record. Cool. So every time, do I even want to, maybe I should just make this robust. Oh, I want this to be serializable, don't I, though? Do I actually want to do it serializable? I think I might just do it in the, yeah, we'll do it like this way. So every time we assign an entity, we're going to go back to the game board manager. I know we have big strings somewhere for when this fails. Yep, here we go. So you're going to be actually a string. You're going to do this. We're going to append to report. Again, terrible, yeah, but I don't even care. Oh, you know what? I actually want this to be a for loop. So let's actually have this be. You know, lists should be ordered. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna do an index. We'll just. Yeah, this is fine. And let's make this be a new line before I forget that. Let's be tabbed. What am I doing? I could just report. Okay, cool. It's gonna compile and then we can run it. But seeing the finished products are always satisfying, and yes, I agree that while thing is very cool, wish I was as talented. It just takes time and enjoyment of the thing you're doing. If wrestling and wrangling code isn't enjoyable, then it's then yeah, it's not gonna be a fun journey. Mr. Charcuterie, so cheese with their wine. Thank you, Made of Porcelain. I'm glad you dig it. Okay, let's see here. Assertion failed. Value was. Is that growing? Yeah, it's growing like crazy. Oh, I'm dumb. Actually, am I dumb? Where's this happening at? This is null now? Why is that happening? I haven't touched anything there. Oh, you know what? I'm kind of curious. I wonder if I forgot to create. That would probably cause the issues that we're seeing here. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, it's compiling. Nice. Come on. Okay, things seem fine now. There we go. Got one. Okay, we can see the previous objects too. So it's saying that the failing object was at coordinate 73 and 66. The grid coordinate, but the grid coordinate was 92 and 73. So it's being overwritten. There we go. Okay, so something's happening. Huh. So the current one is 90 and 73. Or 92 and 73. But the current assigned one is 73 and 66. And we see that this current coordinate is here. That's registered in our table, in our dictionary. But the entity is actually here. Has been assigned this new value. That is interesting. I mean, somehow we're returning. Somehow we're recycling a game object. Somewhere in here, we are sharing. There's like this key. There's not a key collision. There's like this overriding of value that's happening in update across frames, I'm assuming. This is strange. Oh, we're getting so close. I can smell it. I can smell it. I can smell it. So I'm assuming our request object from pool is failing. That's gotta be what's happening here, right? Because this is where we assign a pickup. Like, that's the only way this can really shake out, right? It's either this yeah, because we only call assign once and it's happening here. It's happening across these different cases. But fundamentally, I think you can only have this scenario if the same object is being recycled when it's not intended to be, when it's supposed to be reserved. Oh. And how do we detect this? That's the thing, this is my hunch, but when I look at the code, it seems like it's perfectly fine. I mean, we try to get the corresponding pool for this, and that's fine. And then we request the object from said pool, and we assign it to this and then return it. And the actual pool logic, this should prevent it, because every time we check out an object, we're dequeuing it. Dequeuing is inherently removing it. I mean, we can look up the MSDN documentations, but I'm pretty sure dequeue returns the top of the the queue and removes it. Let's see here. Yep. Removes and returns the object at the beginning of the queue or the peak. And all the objects in my queue here are objects that are free agents that should be available for use. So I mean, this can be made read-only, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, it's a container. There's, of course, returning the object to the pool. But even then, if we fail to return objects to the pool, the way that issue would manifest, it would be that we just start failing to create objects, and that's not what's happening here. So, okay, since we have this previous record thing, this makes life a bit easier. So, when we do when we do this entity creation thing, I'm going to add another guardrail to this. Where we check to see if of course we're going to do this whole is a pickup contains key, previous records, we have to do something. We have to do like, it can't be last because it's going to be assigned our current index, so that's not going to work. What we need to do is add index into like -2, because -1 will give you the last index. This is actually really second to last index. Or actually, it's just greater than, yeah, that's fine. So we want to this is a terrible Frankenstein of a statement. Let's do this. Or really just call this previous entity. And we can just do and this should be false. Yeah. So I want to see if this is let's see if we can detect it. It's not really boiling down the cause of it though. But at least we'll be able to find the part where we do it. We probably have to just do some breakpoints and then go from there. Oh, but that's a call error, not the, So that's actually not good. Because that means we're not detecting that, the false value we want. That's actually not great at all, actually. Because if our belief of how this issue's perpetrating is correct, then before these call errors, they'd be each preceded by a failed assertion here, where hey, we found out that this current entity is actually still registered in the view, but it's not. We're not getting that collision that we're looking for. This is gonna be a thing, man. I'm glad that we've validated more of the code base and more of these functions. I think I might have to just step away and think about it a little bit more, though, to understand why this is behaving the way that it is. Yeah, because this is a little, I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. It's gonna be one of those things where you just sleep on it and then it comes to you in a dream. Yeah, because it's such a weird thing that just to be the way that it is. There's this discrepancy between the registered entity position. Oh, come on. Really? You compile domain. You do that while it's still in play mode. Thank you, ACF. Take that back. I have been visiting stream a while. Don't think I've seen you test run it. Gotcha. Well, here it is, man. You can see it in action here. Different parts of the game. It's all coming together little by little, bit by bit. I'm gonna save, because I think we've included sufficient amount of data. Oh, wait a second. Never mind. Maybe I just didn't compile it when I tested it. This did go off. We can detect that this has happened. So yeah, the root cause that I have in mind was indeed the thing. Like, let's keep testing it, but yeah, we have collision turned off because we're in debugging mode right now. Never mind. Oh, actually, wait, collapse. We had it collapsed. So let's see how this is working. We have 2 assertions that are failed, and then we have 2 call errors. We have 1 assertion that fails, and then a call error. 2 assertions, two assertions that failed, a single call error. That is weird. The fact that we have 2 of these that fail. I wonder though, maybe because it's throwing, it's stopping that the execution of that, but then you wouldn't have the same call errors, would you? I actually don't know. It would return the function, but you would. I think it continues down the line. We had 2 and 2, 4 call error or assertions, and then 4 call errors. So it seems very much causally linked. That there exists game objects registered to the view that are being recycled somehow into this entity creation business. How that's happening, I'm not sure. I wonder if it's like a single frame thing, maybe? Like somehow there's an object that's created and then freed instantly. Even then, it would be back in the pool. Like, this is weird. I think the thing I need to keep track of now is like, if the object pool functionality is actually just the underlying issue here. And it seems so simple that seems like it shouldn't be the issue, but if it is, then we have ourselves a little. I mean, hopefully it's simple to fix. Well, hopefully if we fix it, everything else will be fine. It just means that this system or this module I've been relying upon for a long while actually isn't working the way I want to. Because if we go through this create entity function, it's all structured around this request object, the try get object from pool. Like, it's all built around this. There's this cascading thing here. I don't think that should cause anything. This should just cause us to execute once. Like the same implementation for all these cases. I mean, if you want to be really, I don't think it would affect this though. But yeah, only if this is true, and even then, like, you wouldn't have a game object. It would be null if it wasn't. If it was, yeah. So this is the only way this could possibly be true is if this function is returning true and providing a game object that's been reserved. The only thing that can be weird is this activate function, but is there a way for an object to be returned twice to a pool? Return object to pool, and we just enqueue it. No No checks whatsoever. Okay, so maybe, is there a case where we're calling it multiple times, maybe? In that case, maybe it would be as simple as just contains poolable object. So if returns, so if it actually contains the object already, we return, otherwise we enqueue. I thought enqueue should have an exception where, I mean, I feel like this has to be the case, but let's just, yeah, I guess it doesn't have that hash table, hash set restriction, does it? So it could have duplicates for all we care or all we know. So that's probably, I mean, bad on me for calling return to object multiple times, but no, we're using the underlying recycling function, unless this is called as well. Either way, okay, let's see. Maybe that's just the bug. That was the bug. Was that my previously thought rock solid implementation turns out to not be so rock solid. And this is a simple fix. Which, by the way, if this is the fix, that means all of my logic for the model level generation, the model view object recycling and instantiation, and the culling logic was correct. It would mean that everything I wrote was correct. Well, let's see if we see red down here. I'm gonna try actually aiming for the coins. All right, let me know if you, in chat, if you guys see any reds pop up. I'm trying to play the game. And so far, no reds, dude. I can't believe it. It was just that simple bug. Oh my good. That was it. That was the bug. I thought, oh my god. I thought I was like, maybe I just wrote a pile of sloppy code and there's some edge case I missed or some math that I did wrong or whatever. No, it wasn't me. The math was correct. My algorithm was correct. Everything was correct. Everything was correct. All it was like 3 lines with an underlying module I just assumed to be working correctly. Oh my goodness. We did it. Look at that. All 1 comment. 0 exceptions. Perfect code. Perfect code, guys. I mean, we have to clean up all the debugging stuff we had going on there, but like, I don't think you understand how vindicated I am. Like, these past couple weeks, I've been avoiding dealing with this bug because I assumed it was something very complicated, and that this is bad because I didn't unit test it. And unit testing would have stopped some rabbit holes I went down in terms of investigating this bug, but I was right. I was right. Oh, let's freaking go. I'm so happy, dude. In fact, this is gonna be all caps. Turns out perfect. Reasonable, professional message. Okay. And of course we have to go to Don't you love to see it? You love to see it, dude. You'll love to see when bugs just get squashed, man. Okay, let me catch up in chat real quick. Is this C then? Nah, we're not doing the Ribbon Done project. We switched from that back to working this game done. I just want to get this game done, and then I want to go back to finishing Ribbon Done, and then working on some engine C++ stuff. The difference between C and C Sharp, quite a bit. To terminology. No. It's not just terminology. There's a lot of things that are different. Let's talk about it, actually. I love working in C, but there's a lot of differences. Let's talk about it. Scratch. So, like, you have C, you have C++, and then you got C Sharp. So there's a delineation between these. This is garbage collected, and C and C++ are unmanaged language, or manually. So this is a thing that exists, right? C Sharp, you got something called a garbage collector. It's something, basically every single class you have or boxed instance of a struct are going to be, there's a lot to it, but they're going to be reference counted essentially, right? And then periodically there's a underlying program that's running always that's going to go and check every single object you've created in your runtime and then free it and then reorganize memory afterwards. It's a whole thing. It's what makes garbage collected languages slower, right? Whereas C and C++, you manage it directly. You manage your memory directly, so there's no garbage collector. You can be faster with it. Let's talk more about this. So C is kind of the OG language, the predecessor. Let's talk about the differences between C and C++, right? So C is primarily like a procedural language, whereas C++ supports object-oriented principles. You can think about it like this, actually, before we even get into it. C++ is a superset of C. So everything C can do, every C program is a valid C++ program, but every C++ program is not a valid C program. So it's an expansion of C. So when we say OOP, it means that C++ introduces all these new things like classes, the idea of a class. Classes are the same thing as structs, but there's a bit more to this. And now you have inheritance. You got polymorphic behavior. You can implement a lot of this stuff in C with a magic of void pointer and function pointers, but it's not as intuitive. You got things like what's the thing with like polymorphism? Let's add that in. Morphism. In fact, this is like under this really, but I guess these are all the fundamental stuff here. You have what's this? Scopes. So you can have things that are private, things that are public, things that are protected, so on and so forth. That's a whole thing. There's a fourth principle of OOP, isn't there? Inheritance, polymorphism. Inheritance being like a class can inherit the stuff of another class. I mean, this comes with a bunch of other things, like you're gonna get interfaces and abstract classes and functions and all this kind of stuff. That's one thing. You get also things like templates, a lot of mechanisms to make life a lot more I'm not gonna say a lot more easy, but it gives you a lot more ways to abstract things away. With C, you don't really have that, right? With C, you just have functions, and you have structs, but that's about it. And everything in a struct is like publicly accessible. Whereas with OOP, you also have like member functions. You have things like namespacing. That's a thing. Whereas in C, structs, all members are public, and functions all share the same namespacing. Whereas like in C++, you can have like you can have a namespace. You can have two namespaces with the same function names, and they're not going to collide with each other. Whereas in C, everything's one namespace. So like you have to make sure all your functions have unique names, or else there's going to be a bad time there. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's so much. This is just basic C++, right? It's not even getting to the more modern stuff that they've added into there, like different ways of managing memory and stuff that are almost kind of like functional or like I don't know, but kind of like Rust. But yeah, it's a whole thing. There's a lot of very distinct stuff. C#, it's garbage collected, but it also has the OOP stuff. It also has some functional stuff as well. So the same things that C++ has as far as OOP is concerned, C# has it. Slightly different, but it's largely kind of similar. One big thing here, though, is that classes and structs are kind of the same, really. Like the only difference is that in C++, members of classes are public or private by default, and members of structs are public by default. In C#, there's a very big distinction between structs and classes. It's a very big difference. Where structs are oftentimes treated as value types, whereas classes are treated as reference types. And not only that, but classes are always like allocated to the heap, and anytime you have a function that takes in a class, it's going to be passing the reference to it, whereas usually if you're passing in a struct to a function, it's going to be treated as a value type. It's going to be copied. If you mutate it there, it's not going to mutate the original. It's a whole different set of things. And then of course they have their own set of there's a bunch of other things too, because they have their own ecosystem. They have like .NET and everything. So, in C# or C++, you might be working with like vec types or vector things for like lists. In .NET, they're called lists, right? But we can go on forever and ever and ever about the differences between C and C++ and C#. But that's like a very high level gist of like why these things are very different. It's like Java versus JavaScript. Similar name, but that's about it. Yeah. The thing that is cool is that like C# does allow you to use an unsaved keyword, and then you can kind of pretend like you're working in C++ or C and treat memory the way you want to. Though there's specific considerations because the garbage collector will move memory around, so you have to like pin it in memory. But yes, very fundamentally different. C positives. Well, I like C personally more than C++. How should I say it? Like, I like C because it's very simple and straightforward. It's easier to see how things translate to. I mean, this is not as big of an important factor for me, but it's something I know is that. It's very easy to see how C code gets translated to assembly. But But I think the simple thing is the most important thing. With C++, there's so many ways you can architect and design a class, or not class, a repository or a project or whatever. And it's kind of a symptom of the OOP, right? But you can oftentimes find like super over architected things. Whereas like with C, there's a finite amount of possibilities, which means that it's there's a bit less to take in, right? And you're more focused just on like the project. That's like the easiest way I can describe it. Like, there's not a bunch of different ways to do things. So when you go into a new project or look at other people's code, like you can understand, hey, okay, there's got to be a function. Like, how should I say this? Like, there's there's a function somewhere for all this stuff, right? That you can access and find, right? Like, you're not going through layers of inheritance to find something, right? Or you're not finding things wrapped in a different... I mean, things can always get hairy in any kind of project, no matter how much your language, but... It's less possibilities to consider. That's the way I think about it. That's the way how it feels to me. Now, that being said, like, there's still things from C++ I like operator overloading. That's very nice for doing things to vector types and whatnot. That's super handy. But it's also kind of like, again, like you can do some gnarly stuff with it in C++. You can overload every single operator for a project if you wanted to. Yeah. Some is Swift. Why there are no C scripting languages, so it's easy to use in project without over understanding or relearning other language. I mean, C is really simple as is. I don't really like the idea of scripting languages, if I'm gonna be real with you. But that's a whole different caveat. But yeah, C is very simple. I think a lot of scripting languages, I mean, not a lot of scripting languages, a lot, in fact, no, even scripting languages, like a lot of scripting languages have their roots at some point to C. Like, a lot of structuring that happens in C is permeated to everything else. I think there's newer things that are coming out there are very much not C structured. And in some cases it might be more intuitive or less verbose. But yeah, it influences everything. Like, anywho, that's the answer to your question. That's the answer to your question. Yeah, in fact, like, I kind of like Rust's structure. Like, without the borrow checker, the structure Rust has going for it is kind of nice. Kind of, though. There's still quite a few things that are kind of odd. But that's from my time using Rust. 1 second, guys. But yeah, I'm very happy with the progress we got done today. That was actually I'm actually quite happy we solved that bug. Before I even do anything, do we got some new people in the Discord? Yeah, what's going on, Freezer? Sweet. So yeah, let me go do something. You know, we're gonna do something different. I usually listen to Napletel music, but I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy IX lately. And by the way, you guys have now's a good time to ask questions, by the way. We're at the end of the stream, but I'm not ending it quite yet. Restaurant. Music. I really love playing Final Fantasy 9, man. It's super. I feel like a kid again, dude. I have a separate CRT over there by my couch, so I can actually be in this very chill, we're not working mode. Nope, that's the marsh. Where is it? Is it tavern, maybe? What is the music called? Oh, that's ingrained in my brain. Well, it's like I'm trying to find this particular song. A particular song. But there's so much music in this game. Oh, but I think we're close. Oh, I think this one. Yeah, this one. This one. There we go. Alright, let me answer some questions before we pop off. First language to learn? I like C. I think it's great. But also, the first language you should learn is the language you're currently using and enjoying. If you're enjoying your work with the language, I think it's great to keep doing it. My first language was like C++, but then I switched to working in Game Maker, and that's where I really got into programming. So it was drag and drop, and then eventually Game Maker language. Final Fantasy 9 grind, it's great. I'm loving it, man. You're absolute. How do you secondhand this? Good luck. Not my first. Not your first language. How do you second? What do you mean secondhand this? What does that mean exactly? This song is great, dude. Yes. I have to type. I'll try. All good, man. But yeah. Have you played Octopath before? No, I haven't. I've seen it back in my college days, but never played it. Though I'm not sure if we're gonna. I'm not sure if I'm gonna. I don't know. I don't really. I have a Switch, but I just don't want to. Is Octopath on other platforms? I don't know. I don't know. There's something about. Here's the thing, right? And maybe it's just me becoming a boomer, right? But and getting into a bubble, but I spent like a bunch of hours like playing this game on a PS2 on a CRT on my couch, and those hours I'm playing it, I'm not on my phone. I don't touch my phone. I'm not listening to YouTube in the background or anything. It's just the game, and it's cool being on a system, on this thing that's fundamentally disconnected from everything else, that I can just be sucked into it. And I like playing on my Steam Deck, and it's cool, and I like playing on other things, but like it doesn't feel as restful or enjoyable for me to game on that stuff. It's very weird. Like I can't really game on this and enjoy it to the same degree, because it's, you know, it's the avenue, it's the place where I do my work. Even if it's fun work and enjoyable work, it's still work. So yeah, it's a very odd experience for me. But yeah, I think I still might give it a try though. Octopath, because it's still I like top-down RPGs. Like I like playing Final Fantasy 6 and Dragon Quest 3. So it seems like it does a lot of things I would like to implement. Herd Bird, resolution of CRT. Let's find out. I mean, technically infinite. But I'm currently rendering this at about, if I can find it, here. 800 by 600. I'm not sure if it's a native resolution of this CRT native, but that's what I'm using. Not back to the frying pan. Yeah, classic games is fun. That the newer ones, especially online games, gotcha. Yeah. It's hard to play modern games and not feel like you're getting screwed in some way or taken advantage of, and even if it's a good game, it's still tied to an ecosystem that's always online. There's not a lot of modern indie games I enjoy playing. Even modern like AAA games that are pretty cool, but I don't know, man. I like feeling like separated from, like, games are meant to be escapism, and I think when I'm playing on this whole different setup, it really makes me feel completely separated from society, from everything, man, from everything. And that's what I want. I'm a leatherneck. Just learning this. I never heard that term, leatherneck. Well, anyways, guys, there's no other questions, man. I'll stay on a few more seconds in case anything else comes up. Is Dust World / Meshy Mansion Bench are still on the board? I've been thinking about it. I think I do want to come back to it. I've been the thing is, like, I really want to work on the game engine. This game engine, I really want to get to work on it and make a game in it. Messy Mansion is cool. I need to have more vision for it, though, to really... I don't know. I think I need a story for Messy Mansion and some more ways to utilize the mechanics. But I need to detox from working in Unity first. And I have another game. I have a game in mind called Daybreakers. That's what I'm calling it right now. It might be changed later, but like there's another game I want to work on that's gonna be for this game engine, and it's gonna be a top-down thing, and I'm making the game loop pretty simple. I think even simpler than Fight and Flight, or Radial Rush. But I'm still in the concepting phase and working on like designing how it's gonna look and what the gameplay loop's gonna be and everything. There's some minor sketches I've done though. Like I have more in my notebook, but it's gonna be a fantasy type game because I've been really in the mood for something fantasy. And I'm not even sure if it's gonna be I might make it like a not HD game. I might make this actually as something that's gonna be, or not pixel art, but actually HD rendered. Yeah, some character stuff though. Still thinking about it though. Still working through it. I really want to go back to. I really want to finish up Messy Mansion, but I need a detox from Unity. Keep in mind, I work in Unity for my day job, and then I come home and I do more Unity. So I need to finish this engine up, and I think once we finish up the material system stuff, we're gonna be in business. I think it'll be like a Linux release. Maybe WebGL if I can figure out mscripting. And then Windows will be something we test at some point, but I also kind of don't want to. I don't care about Windows, man. I want to keep this Linux agenda going. I kind of want to keep this Linux agenda going. Oh man, what's another good song from 9? Battle 2 is pretty good. Yeah, there's a Burmecia. That's like sad though. Okay. The Chocobo one. Still enjoy the progress of each project either way. Yeah, it's you learn each, or at least I learn. I'm learning something from it. I need to start working with. I'd been a bit curious if there'd be a sandbox demo of it in the Discord. Of what? Messy Mansion? Up to you. Still enjoyed the progress. Yeah, what do you mean sandbox version? I'm kind of curious. A Messy Mansion? I mean, that'd be cool to throw in there. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff there. I need to get back to being consistent with dev updates. I don't know. Messy Mansion's been a while. Let's boot it up real quick. You guys want to go down memory lane real quick and see what Messy Mansion looked like? Is it in the... over here? Yeah, there it is. 2 months ago. It's been 2 months since I've touched Messy Mansion. That's pretty nuts, actually. 2 months. That is pretty crazy, man. And I know we've done some breaking changes in this other game, in Radial Rush. I remember the main menu being really cool. Oh, can't go there. It's very laggy. Is it because we have... Nope, it's not this. You're not running. Yeah, why is this being very laggy? Yeah, this game was pretty... pretty tight. Yeah, maybe I'll like bring down the scope or something and get it out. Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of cool R&D stuff we've done for this game. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see where the heart takes us. It's kind of fun to see it again though. I know the hub world looked really fun. Well, I think that's about everything, guys. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, God bless. And until next time, stay cozy, man. Till then, ta-ta.